AI can write the words. It can even write like you. Can it capture your personality? On today's show, Danielle Hughes and I unpack what it means to stay real in a world where technology speaks for us. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Madelyn Blair, and this is Unlocked, a show all about unlocking the resilient leader in you. Recently, I asked AI to review transcripts from my shows and describe the show. This show, Unlocked with Madelyn Blair. The description that it created was remarkably consistent with my intentions. To be able to do this, it had to read about 100 pages of transcripts of the shows. Even though AI described my show to me in a manner that reflected what I hoped to do through the show, it did it because it had read pages and pages. In LinkedIn, you can't ask others to read through pages and pages to learn about you. So how can we leverage what AI can do for us and still be able to convey our message well and accurately? AI can mirror us, but that's not the same as you, which is why today I'm incredibly excited to welcome back to Unlocked my guest, Danielle Hughes. Let me bring her on.
Hello,
Danielle.
Madelyn.
Hello, Danielle. I'm so happy that you're back.
I'm so happy too. I like to joke when I'm a repeat guest that I'm ready for my jacket. Like, the SNL, if you have 5 visits, they give you the yellow jacket.
Really?
So I'm ready for my jacket for my repeat appearances on.
I'm going to have to think about that one. What could I do? Not a jacket.
A little something. I don't know.
Well, let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Danielle Hughes is currently Chief Personality Officer at More Than Words Marketing, where she focuses on helping other individuals, companies write authentic content. This is backed up by her extensive experience in many, many other companies, particularly as founder of Baby Fish Mouth, project manager at Nickelodeon, writer at Catalyst, and board member of the Graphic Artists Guild. So again, welcome back, Danielle.
Thank you so much. It's such an interesting, of the things that you picked, I was like, I would probably mention none of those jobs, but it's so interesting.
That often happens, but what interests me is what I show.
Yeah, no, I love it.
Good. Well, I think our topic today it's fascinating to me because I've been doing a lot of shows on AI. It's so much in the news. And I keep testing, can it do this? Can it do this? Can it do this? And it's amazing what it can do. So this aspect of how do we work with it when we really need to be genuine about who we are? So how is the work of AI made the work of this aspect of presenting yourself to the world easier or harder?
Yeah, I think it's both, because I think a lot of people think that they can just go in and ask ChatGPT or Claude or whoever to write something for them. But if you don't have the strong foundation of who you are, if you don't have a strong positioning statement, if you don't have a clear bio, if you're not giving it enough information to go on, that's where the struggle begins for most people, because they say, well, why is it's making me sound like everybody else? Because it doesn't have the context. But if you have spent time cultivating who you are, and you have, let's say website, and you've got bios, and you've got speeches you've given and all that, if you feed that in, that's when it can make everything easier, because it knows who you are, because you are giving it all of these materials. So when you have that strong, authentic foundation to give it, you're going to get much better results. And where the difficulty lies is people who want to take a shortcut or think they can just jump in and start using it. And you have to nurture it and have it learn who you are first before it can really start helping you.
Gosh, I just instinctively sent in transcripts of the shows.
Which is
And
amazing.
yeah, I mean, well, how could AI know me if it didn't
Yeah.
know me or see what I do? And of course, I sent it to my website and I sent it to my YouTube channel. I mean, I sent it to as many places as I could. So you're right. You're right.
And it's like you have to learn, like, what are the capabilities of these technologies? You can't just, ask it to do X, Y, and Z. What are the guardrails you're giving it? Right? Are you telling it you can't use anything else from the web, or you have to show me all the links to anything that you send me, and what are the sources, and don't make anything up. And, it's not malicious software, but it can get, away from you without real clarity. I recently created a custom GPT for myself, for my business. And what I did is I fed it my website and all of these materials, and here's who I am. And anytime I use it, if I at Chief Personality Officer, meaning it can only use the information that I have given it around myself to create anything that I want it to create.
You use the initials GPT.
Yes.
What is that?
Oh, that's a good question. What does GPT stand for? Um, I don't know.
Okay.
To be
Well,
honest.
regardless of what it stands for,
Yes.
just,
Okay.
uh, what it sounds like as you describe it is that you have defined the universe that your agent is allowed to interact
That's
with.
that is correct. Exactly. So
I
like
did the same thing.
within Chat GPT, you can create a custom GPT, which is your custom agent, as you said, or voice,
Mhm.
and it will only create content or pull from things that you have already given it or that it's asked you, because it will further ask you questions to define who you are and how you want to be. And it'll say, should I be more sarcastic? Should I be more friendly? Should I be warmer? Should I be this? And they are very smart, but like, again, if you're not building from that initial foundation of here's enough about me and who I am and my voice, it's not going to know what to use and what to create and how your actual tone, right? It's like that tone is so important. You can give it all the content, but how is it going to get your voice and your tone and sound like you?
Yeah, this this is wonderful because I've gotten mine so well trained. I will put something draft in, and it will say, "Yes, I see that you have warmth and blah," and they'll list all
Uh-huh.
the things. Which, of course, I never told it that that's what I want. It's that it read it in those hundreds of pages of transcripts.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. You often say that customers buy us, not our products. Does
Yes.
AI challenge that idea or make it even more important?
I think it makes it more important, right? And like back to everything that we've been saying is, if everybody's starting to rely on AI and use AI, there is a huge risk of all of us becoming homogenous
Yes.
and we won't be able to differentiate each other from each other. So the people who have, let's say, service-based businesses or even product-based businesses, if you are showing up in, as your authentic self in, communications and in content, that's how you can really start to foster those relationships and build that trust. And that's where I think it's going to be even more important moving forward, because that's how you're going to separate yourself from the pack. And that's where people's decisions are going to be based on, if everybody sounds the same, but one person maybe sounds a little bit more human, or I feel like I can trust them more, that's who they're going to probably want to spend their money with. So I think it's going to become even more important to differentiate yourself and distinguish yourself from everybody else.
Oh, I love this. It's more important today to differentiate.
And it
It's
doesn't
always
mean
been
like you
important.
have to like, stand out so much or be outrageous or, I'm not saying any of that. It's just how do you, step into that comfort level of showcasing who you are, right? Why did you, if you have a business, why did you found this company? If you're working for an organization, like what are you passionate about? And how do you kind of showcase, who you are and what you're proud of, as opposed to, kind of just sounding like everybody else and citing the same kind of like list of accomplishments.
You coined the term genuine personality brand. Now, how do we protect that personality when AI can imitate tone, style, even humor?
That's a very good question. Um, I think I'm not sure that you can 100% protect it, right? Because if it's out there, it's free game for anybody to find and pull from and use. But I do think that if you have a clear point of view and a clear voice, I don't think that's anything that can ever be taken away from you, right? There's always been imitators, even before AI, people trying to imitate people, create similar businesses, talk in similar ways, or model themselves off people that maybe they admire or see an opportunity. But there's only one of us, right? We can only be ourselves. And like that is our unique and special gift. And so the more that people can recognize that they need to lean more into who they are at their core, as opposed to trying to be something that they're not or what they think people want to see. That's how I think you can start to build that protection, right? The more like vulnerable and real you are, the more likely other people are not going to be able to take, they can't take that away from you because it's going to be obvious that you are being true to who you are and saying what feels right to you.
It it also, if you get to that place, you in a way can't be inconsistent with yourself.
That's correct. Right. Exactly. Because you're so confident and comfortable. It's like, this is who I am. I'm not going to try to be doing other things. I'm not going to be, I'm not wearing all these other hats or trying all these things because I already know that who I am works. And there's nothing else I can really do about it. Right.
Mm,
So you either like it or you don't.
yep. Because that's when you said they buy you, not the product.
Right, because it's like it's like any kind of relationship. You see yourself in other people, or there's something about a person that draws you to them. And we can't always put a finger on why. Sometimes it's gut, sometimes it's a feeling. A lot of times it's just, oh, this person is from where I'm from, or they have a similar background, or, they share something that I share. But that's why, like, the more that you can just kind of put yourself out there, the more likely people are to be like, oh, yeah, that is so and so, right? Like you want to be recognized
Mhm. Yeah.
for what you're saying and have people recognize you for that.
Hmm. Now, maybe you've already tackled this, but I just want to maybe just do it a little bit more. Is there a way to use AI collaboratively so that it amplifies, our authentic voice rather than diluting it?
Collaboratively, meaning like with groups of people, or what do you mean when you say that?
I guess I, I guess when I wrote that, I was thinking, how can you work with AI to
Hmm.
present yourself? I think you've already talked about some ways. You have to feed
Yeah.
it as a background.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's guardrails. I think it's remembering that you can't just tell AI or ask AI to do something without the parameters, right? Or the prompts. Like, what are the very rigid, strict prompts that you're asking it to do? And it's also on the person to read what it gets from the AI, right? Just because it spits something out, don't just go
Yes.
and put that out there. Read it. Is it really something you would say? Is it really correct? Where is the information coming from? Does this sound like you? And I think like, you give it like the BS test. Like, is this really something that, or send it to someone who you know and trust and say, hey, what do you think of this? And like, will they be like, I don't know, it kind of sounds like it was written by AI. Like, I have some friends who have put, sent me things. Oh, I got this document started. And I'll be like, I don't know, this feels like it was written by AI. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, yeah, it was written with AI. I'm like, okay, well, why don't you tell me that? And then just say, like, I used AI to create this outline. And I'm like, okay, because now we're going to have to rewrite so much of it. Right. Because it doesn't sound like them. It's like too all like, AI can be like all over the place. It's so wordy. It's so verbose, right? All the jargon. And so you really have to be clear about what you're looking for. And like once you train it, like I feel like mine will start asking me now, oh, do you want it to be warmer and more friendly, or are you looking for more polished and professional, or should I give it somewhere in between? And so it kind of understands maybe what you're looking for because that's what I've told it I want.
I've done that as well because I have three audiences that I have to feed to. One is obviously this show.
Yes.
Another is my mental espresso group, and then there's my psychology today. And it was quite remarkable. And speaking just general audiences, and it has figured. Well, I shouldn't say it figured it out because I gave it examples in every case. This is what I'd sent to psychology
Mm.
today. This is what So
Madeline, have you created separate GPTs for each of those three factions?
no, I didn't because I
You could
wanted it
do
all
that.
together because I want to be able to go in with, um, uh, for example, grounds for thought.
Yeah.
What I and just show it. That's written for the show. It's written in relationship to the audience of the show. But I want to take the general content of that and recast it for different audiences. And so that has to be in the same GPT, the same agent.
Okay. It probably doesn't. You probably could have like some cross pollination, but
Maybe I could, but
yeah, but I'm sure neither one of us is technical enough to figure that out. So
that's right. Well, all I know is that when they produce it, and I read it, you're absolutely right. You have to read every word. And I've gone in and changed a word here and a sentence there because it just didn't feel like me.
mm.
But the key is, as you do that, you have to feed it back in and say, "This is how I changed it," and then it continues to learn.
And I think what's so interesting is we can't know if it's going to sound like us until we read it and like say, this doesn't sound like me. And sometimes it's really hard to put that into words and explain why something doesn't sound like you.
Yeah.
And, I have been like using it to kind of help me with some client work. Like, I do all the legwork, we do all the conversations, all the back. But then when I have all these materials, I might say, okay, can you create an outline for me or get me started, on a bio? And it'll just kind of help me with like chronology and storytelling. And then I'll
Mhm.
go in and obviously rework it and whatever. And then at some point I share it with the client. And the client might come back and be like, I love everything. Or they might come back and be like, oh, I put some more things in my own voice. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, but they knew it wasn't their voice. But like to me, it was close enough. And
Yeah.
sometimes, even as like a quote unquote expert, it is hard to get it 100% and to say
Well,
what
of course
is.
that's the case.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked with editors for I won't even tell you how many years. And sometimes they catch it and sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And when they don't, it's much harder to work with them until they finally have adjusted to your style, etc.
Yeah.
Uh, what I have found is that my writing tends to have poetic portions and then just sort of flat out, this is how it is,
Yeah.
And
That's
I
you.
don't know why I write that way. And so sometimes the AI will come back like that and they go, ooh, is that how I sound?
Yeah. And it'll be
Change.
like, yes, that is how you sound. You're like, well, okay.
Hmm.
It's very
But
cool.
that leads me to my next question. How can a leader ensure that AI generated content still feels like it comes from a real person with values and quirks and integrity?
I mean, I think it just all goes back to what we've already said, which is you have to have the foundational communications and background to give to the AI in the first place,
Yeah.
right? You have to like, and it's not just, oh, here's some screenshots of the company's website, right? It's more like, what are the values of the organization? Do you even know that? And can you tell your AI, these are our values? Do you have a brand voice? So a lot of companies do all this work and they spend time on like their logos and their colors and their fonts. And maybe they've done some brand work and they've got, a voice and a tone. But those are the things that are going to make it so much easier for other people to create content on behalf of the organization because there's that clear picture of who they're writing for.
Yeah.
But then the other piece of how does that person then weave who they are into that as well? Because it's not just, you're an agent of this organization. You have your own goals and passions and voice. And if you want to promote something for your company, it should sound like it's from you on behalf of the organization. So it needs to have like a both and I think that comes with like trust and encouraging people to express themselves and know who they are, as opposed to just, it's only promote this or talk this way or reshare the company party line. Because then it's never going to sound like it's genuine.
Mm. I'm thinking about if if the AI agent was a member of a team,
Yes.
you could, you have to be thoughtful about your
Hmm.
human members of the team, right? You have to listen to them. You have to acknowledge their strengths, build on that, or they'll become disgruntled.
Disenfranchised or
Exactly,
disgruntled. And
exactly. Whereas with AI, you can be quite blunt and tell it whatever. And I'm thinking, that's certainly is an advantage.
well, it's interesting because it could be a negative or a positive because if you are used to talking to a chat bot and you feel like, oh, I can just be direct and I don't have to be nice, and how does that translate to when you have to make real life interactions?
Yeah, yeah,
But then on the other hand, there is like this, I think there's been some pushback that, a lot of the chat bots are being so solicitous to people that are writing in them that's also bad because then there's never any feedback or any pushback or anything. And so it's got to be, what's the middle ground
yeah.
of,
Actually, I had to tell mine, I don't need for you to tell me how good I wrote.
yes, one of my friends sent me a long thing that you can paste in that's like, I do not want you to flatter me or compliment me. I want you to be honest with me, poke holes in everything that I'm telling you. I want you to only use real information, provide me with real sources.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't beat around the bush. I need honesty. I don't need you to flatter me.
Oh, but that's just a great list of guardrails that you talked about earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
So,
I think I'm going to listen to this show again and take that list and go see if it will improve things, because I do want to get the flattery away, but I want to have all the critique. And I know it's funny because they'll tell me how nice it is, and then they'll give me 17 things that I have to change.
and it's, who doesn't want to be complimented, right? It's nice when like,
Right.
your AI is like, oh, this is, this is a clear sign of your expertise and da 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 da. And, and you're thinking like, and you start to believe your own hype. You're like, yes, it
Yeah,
is a clear sign of my expertise. Of course. Look how wonderful I am. But like, that's not what you really need it there
that's
for,
not
right?
what
You
you
want
need.
it to be your tough editor or, somebody who's going to kind of tear it apart and break it down so that it's
That's
the
right.
best thing that it can be.
That could be.
So, yeah.
Now, I'm going to go off script for a minute because
Okay.
you obviously have used AI. There are times when you really want to, the agent to go out to the internet and do some research for you. In fact, there are certain um,
Yeah,
brands, I call it, of AI. I think it's the one is called Comet. It's very good at doing research.
I was gonna say there's deep research mode or they
Yeah,
have different modes
right,
or something, right? Yes.
right. Um, have you used that? Because I find that, well, I'll back up a minute. I used to run a library. It was a technical library at the World Bank. And I hired a research librarian. Well, I didn't know when I hired her what a research librarian did. And then I discovered the absolute joy of being able to pick up the phone and say, uh, I need to have information on such and such and such and such. And then, like 3 hours later, I had all the information that I needed because she knew where to look. Well,
Yes.
AI does that, and that's such a blessing. So I'm just curious, have you used it for that in your work?
I haven't used it in that way for my work. I've used it for my website to find places in my blogs to link to each other. So I can
Ah,
use the deep research to say, find me all the backlinks, and it'll recommend which blogs should link to other blogs to help you with like your search. Especially if you've been, I've been putting out newsletters and blogs for 6 years now. So I have no idea if my second newsletter ever should be directly correlated to the most recent one because I probably don't even, but like it can do that for you and make recommendations of which ones make sense to connect to.
you just gave me a new idea. Good.
So, like in terms of trying to optimize my website for GEO as opposed to SEO, right, which is now the generative search, right, when people are using chatbots to say, "Hey, I need a leadership coach, or I need help with my LinkedIn profile, or I need someone who does personal branding, or whatever it is, you want to be the person that gets found." So I've used it in that way, but I haven't used it. I haven't had to do deep research for client work as of yet, but I'm sure
Okay.
that it will be coming.
It'll
So
be coming. It'll be coming because now people know they can ask you that kind of thing. All right.
exactly.
Now, one of your principles, and I love this one, is that good branding attracts the right audience and it repels the wrong one. You have no idea how that freed me, Danielle.
Yay. Okay. I
To
love
think
it.
about what I had to say. And finally, I said, I just can't speak to everybody
No.
because you just can't. But I know who I really want to speak to. Okay. Can AI help clarify that distinction, or does it risk smoothing away and something? Well, maybe we've already addressed some of this, but
No, but I think both, right? I think it can clarify, right? Especially if so many people are afraid to niche down when their audience or their focus, right? Because they think, like to your point, I have to appeal to everybody. But if we try to appeal to everybody, we appeal to nobody. So I do think that with the right prompts, you can get the AI to do some digging for you on ideal customers, build me my ideal audience. This is what I do, and like ask it probing questions. And you can stress test it to say, if you are, a X demographic person and this and da 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 da, and I send you this information, is this right for you? Is this on brand? How can I tweak this? So I think you can use it to like delve and dig in. But I think to your point about like will it smooth it out and just make it, like homogenous, is if you don't stress test it. If you just kind of say, go do X, Y, and Z, or write me some content, like everything has to come back to the clarity that you have in who you are, who you want to serve, and what you do. And people who are shying away from defining that, that's where the problems lie. Is like you have to know your type of ideal customer or ideal client. Like who are the people, and not just their industry, like what type of person are they?
mm-hmm.
I need a person who I can show up on a Zoom call in my sweatshirt and they don't care. And they're still going to value me as a service provider because that's just how I am. I don't want to have to like put on airs. Other people might say, I need a certain of a different kind of background, or I need people of a certain education level, or I need a this. But what's going to make you feel the most comfortable and what's going to allow you to be yourself with your audience? That's what you're trying to get to, because you don't need to attract everybody. You want your message to self-select for you because certain people are just not going to respond to it. And that's okay. The problem becomes when everybody responds to it or nobody responds to it. And like,
Mm-hmm.
what is that sweet spot?
I understand what you're saying, but I need to have an example.
Okay.
So give me an example of the kind of prompts that you would say. And let's just put together a fictitious audience of
Mm.
let's call them 55 years. No, let's do it younger than that. Let's
Well,
do
what if we
30.
do, let's do like for you, let's think about like who your ideal client would be. You tell me.
Well, I want it to be, I said between the ages of 25 and 54, which is a classic marketing.
Yeah, forget the demographics. Don't even like, we don't need to worry
Okay.
about the
All right.
demographics.
Okay,
Let's talk
good,
about
good.
like, right? Let's talk about, do you want
I
people?
want somebody who is curious.
Great. Okay.
All right. I'm going to
Okay.
write these down because I've never
Yes.
described this to anybody. I want them to be curious people. I want them to be interested in um, being better, simply being better in the world. Okay.
Okay. Self-improvement. Do you feel
More,
like they are
more effective.
late career, maybe?
Well, I'd like to tackle them even earlier than mid
Oh,
late,
okay.
uh, because I think there's just so many things that can set you on the right path.
Okay.
Uh,
The early mid career, let's say
yeah,
that, right?
right.
Okay.
Early mid. Yeah.
Any industries specifically?
No, in my case, the answer is no, because when I look at what the kind of content that I present on this show, it applies across the board.
Okay.
Resilient people are resilient people. I think there may be some self selection because I don't monitor my vocabulary, and I'm told I have a wide vocabulary, and some people may be put off by that. It's
Okay.
just that I have a wide vocabulary. That's all because I do a lot of reading.
Right.
So,
You want probably people who are highly educated.
no, they don't have to be
Oh,
highly
okay.
educated, but they have to be curious.
Curious. Okay.
That's they want to learn.
Okay. And what are they struggling with?
They're struggling with constant change.
Okay.
Okay, I like that. I like that question. Struggling with constant change. That's a big thing in our lives today. They may be struggling with lack of opportunity,
Okay.
and they may even be struggling with a lack of self awareness.
Hmm.
All right,
These are
so
ambitious people.
they're curious people.
Okay. So you see a distinction.
Yeah.
So I would put that, like, if you're putting that in and it's, and like, if you tell ChatGPT or Claude or whoever, this is like my audience, it might prompt you and say, and you might say, I want curious people, not ambitious people. And it might say, what do you mean by
Mhm.
that? Or it will help, like, the more you can give it like that, the more likely it will ask you follow-up questions. Right. But I think we're still probably missing are these people, is there, are they frustrated? Are they, um, are they looking for support? Are they looking for a push? Are they looking for, like, what are you going to give them that like, what are they going to see in you that they need? What's that missing thing?
Oh, that's a great question. Um,
Because that will also help you self-select, right? If you're, let's say, super encouraging and very like, friendly and warm and,
well,
that to
I will.
you, right?
I, yeah, I've been told, and AI confirms that, by the way, that I am warm.
And warmth is there's warmth, but then there's like woo, right?
No,
And so,
no, I'm not woo.
right.
I'm
So
just
you
warm.
might be like, I'm supportive, but maybe it's more
Yeah,
like I'm tough and supportive.
correct, correct.
Right.
Right. Um, you asked that question, and I lost the thread of it. Warm. There was something else in that question.
Oh, it was just sort of like what are you providing that they would need, or
Yeah.
what is the thing that
Okay,
they
okay.
see from you?
I what I see is, look, if you are curious and you it means that you also like to learn. I mean, that's those things really
Yeah.
packaged together. I want to give you information and content and ideas so that you have lots of options in front of you, more and more options, so that when you get, as I say in my book, when you get hit with the unexpected, you you can move, you can, but you need to have options in order to choose where you want to move.
Hmm.
So that's how I see it. So let's put lots of options on the table so that people can say, oh, I don't like that, I don't like that, but this one, wow, grab it and go with it. That's what I want. That's what I want to do. And I want to, I guess I would say, I want to build agency among the listeners.
Okay. I like that. So it's like you're not coddling people, right? It's like
No.
you are setting them up for success. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to probably push them, right? To your point, like you can't build resiliency by being coddled. You can build resiliency through being challenged. So you
Oh,
want people that are looking to be challenged.
yes. You know, I had Michelle Borba on, Dr. Michelle Borba, and she talked about how you help children be brave. Because
Mm,
courage is part of resilience, right? And she said exactly that. You do not coddle your child.
not at all. No, you want to show them love, but like
Yeah,
coddling
absolutely.
your kids is going to create bratty kids who are
That's right.
not
She
capable of
said,
adversity.
that's right. She said you have to. It's where you put your feet, and what she means by that is you have to slowly step away from your child until finally you can say, "Sweetie, you got that."
Yeah.
And then
So like back to our original, like why we were doing this exercise. So if you now put all of that into your chatbot, and then you can say, what are the things that this audience needs to hear, or what is the language I should be using? And that's how you will self select. And that's how you will be repelling and attracting. Because to your point, if somebody needs a lot more coddling, then they're not for you. If somebody, wants a ton of adversity, they're not for you, right? It's that sweet spot of they're ready, they're curious, they know they need something. And like, what is that language that's going to unlock
yeah,
them turning to you, right? Or needing you, or like realizing that this is the missing piece, so to speak.
mm,
Yeah.
fabulous, fabulous.
I'm so excited. I want you to do this and then let me know.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah.
You can be assured of that.
Okay.
All right, because Danielle and I decided that in order to understand what we just talked about, we're going to actually demonstrate it for you. So, Danielle, I'm going to ask you to take the lead, and
Okay.
I'm not going to sit in the host seat anymore. And you tell me, and I have my screen in front of me so that we can share that with the audience at the right time. And you just tell me.
So we are going to try to use, so you don't have a custom GPT set up, but that's okay because you've been using your chat. So we're going to open your chat GPT and we're going to tell it that you are looking to further hone your audience and hone your message. And we're going to put in descriptors, the ones we just talked about, of what are you looking for these people to have, and then let it tell us what is some of the language you should be using in order to attract that audience, right? Because we want to attract those people and repel the other people.
All right, let me see if I can show my screen to the audience.
Great. I see
Can we
it.
see it? All
Yep.
right. So I've begun already where it says
Great.
what's on my agenda today. I want to further describe my no.
Ideal, let's say ideal
Ah,
customer, right?
can I say audience?
Yeah,
Or
either way.
audience for my show.
Great.
Yes.
Yes, period. I maybe you can say, I am looking to discover the right language that will resonate with these specific people. Okay. Then you can say the qualities I want these people to have include, right? And then you can put in all the things that we talked about.
Okay. So first of all, curious,
Yep.
want to learn, um, want to be better, um, early to mid career.
Yep.
I remember I talked about the fact that I have a wide vocabulary, but it's
Oh,
not that
right.
highly
Yes.
educated people.
Yes.
How do I say that, do you think?
How about people who appreciate Language? I
Okay.
don't know. I'm not sure we can try that.
We can try it. Right.
Yeah.
Change it if we want to. Okay.
Does your chat know what you do and what the podcast is about? Do you need to put that in first?
It should know all that.
Okay, great. So then we don't have to say that. Okay, perfect. Put a period and then say, can you either ask me additional questions or do you have enough to provide some marketing language that would appeal to these specific people? The little return and let's see what it gives you.
I could absolutely create
Ah,
strong
see?
marketing language for the audience, but with just a little more detail from you, I can make it magnetic. Wow. Here
Uh-huh.
are a few targeted questions that will help me get the tone, vocabulary, and emotional hooks exactly right. Hmm.
Okay. So here we go. Clarifying questions. Choose any you want to answer.
Whew.
Oh, I love
That,
this, right? We were talking about this, right? What emotions do you want them to feel when they encounter your show? Great.
oh,
Are they mostly
God,
leaders to be, current managers, individual contributors, or a blend? Do they work primarily in corporate, nonprofit? This is great.
it is wonderful. It's
Yeah, their
wonderful.
struggles or desires, right? When they wake up at 3 a.m., what's on their mind? That's such a good
Oh,
question, right? What growth are they seeking? Confidence,
yeah.
clarity, uncertainty, right? And so we
Wow.
don't have to answer all of these now, in the video, but like this is the point is like if you prompt it the right way and you tell it, what else do you need? The AI then acts as your like marketing partner or
Yes.
business partner to say, here's the other things that I will need. And it will then, of course, force you to do some thinking and say, okay, what are the answers to
Yeah.
these questions? And it says, choose any you want to answer. So like no one should feel like they have to answer everything. But I think, I like emotional drivers. I love the idea of like what's keeping them awake at night or what's waking them up at night.
Well, let's do those two questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to say, in response to your question one about emotions, I'd like the audience to feel excited about learning some new ideas that they can take action on.
Mm, okay.
That enough emotion there?
Yeah.
Excited?
I mean, I think excited is fine. But you're saying they want them to take action. Do you want them to feel like, wow, I can't get this information anywhere else? Like, do you want it to be thought provoking for them? Or like, I think we can kind of dig a little deeper, maybe.
Oh, good. I like that. Yes, I would like it to be thought provoking.
Okay. So you
Okay.
can probably add that. Yeah. That they feel the content is thought provoking. And what's great is like, you don't have to be perfect, right? It's like, give it the
Oh,
gist.
yeah.
So, and for anyone who's like, oh my God, this is so much to type, right? Like you can also hit your little microphone and you could talk into it if you wanted to instead. Then
Okay.
you can say, okay, as for question 3, what wakes them up what wakes them up?
I think they are concerned about their future.
Yeah.
They know life changes constantly, and they want to feel they are capable of handling um, the change and even to know how they can handle it.
Mm, okay. All right, let's
That
see.
too. Okay. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Let's see. Hit the little arrow. Let's see what it says. Okay, wonderful.
Wonderful. That gives me enough clarity to craft language that speaks directly to the hearts and minds of these early to mid career curious, thoughtful strivers.
I like a thoughtful striver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Below,
yep. Go ahead.
I need to read this because some people only listen to this.
Yeah. No.
So
No. Please.
below are 4 polished marketing language options, each with a slightly different flavor, so you can see what resonates most with your own voice and brand. Wow. I don't think
Hmm.
I should read all of this, but I will give pieces of it
Yeah.
to
Why don't
my
we read
listening
the like
audience.
headline and the subhead
That's right.
maybe of each
That's
one?
right. Because I want, if you really are curious, you can do your own chat GPT
Mm.
for yourself, or you can go to my YouTube channel and everything is there. All right.
Mm.
So we're going to do number one, inspiring plus thought provoking.
So it feels that this is your default tone for unlocked. That inspiring
Yeah.
and thought provoking is your default tone, which I
Now
love.
you see, that's exciting because I
Yeah.
never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
All right. So this is for people who are hungry to learn, eager to grow, and determined to shape a future they can thrive in.
Let's go to the next one because I already
Okay.
like the first sentence of the next
All
one.
right. Purpose driven plus re- reassuring for
Hmm.
people worried about the future, for emerging professionals who want to feel equipped, not overwhelmed by the changes coming their way.
I like that. Look, I love this first sentence. The world is moving fast, your career is evolving, and sometimes the questions that keep you up at night start with, am I ready for what's next? I like that a lot. Unlocked with Madelyn Blair offers answers, not by predicting the future, but by strengthening your ability to adapt to it. Each conversation gives you tools you can use immediately to navigate uncertainty, handle change with resilience, and stay grounded in who you're becoming. If you're a curious learner who wants to grow with purpose, this is your place. I
Wow.
love that, right?
Yes.
That is very spot on for you.
So,
Hmm.
Danielle, I think
Yeah.
this was a great idea to record it this way right in the show. And
Yeah.
again, we're going to post these notes. They're available to you. You're going to have to go to YouTube to get the link, but we'll make this available to you. So, now back to our show. What signals authenticity to an audience now that, so much content online that feels generated or templated or too perfect? What is it that really signals authenticity?
I think obviously, if it's something is perfect, it's not going to be authentic, right? If it sounds too polished, if it sounds too wrought, right? Like you spent so much time, there has to be, some honesty. Not everything needs to be overly vulnerable, but there does need to be some realness and some vulnerability. I think what signals authenticity is like not the same thing over and over either, right? Like you have different thoughts, you have different ways of talking about things. Are you covering different topics? Are you talking about, different aspects so that it feels like you're not just saying the same thing over and over? Because then that also feels like contrived. Um, and I sometimes, again, I think it's like you can't always put a finger on it. It's just like you read something and you're like, that feels like that person was being real. That feels honest, or and obviously if something resonates, anytime something resonates with you, chances are it's probably an authentic statement from the person,
Mhm.
because most people are not going to resonate with things that are inauthentic.
Yeah. As you were talking, I had an unusual connection in my brain. Uh, in Chinese art, you always want some small imperfection.
Mm.
And I'm thinking to myself, damn, that's what it's about. You want a small imperfection that demonstrates this is made by a human.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I never knew that. Is this all Chinese art? Like
It's
sculpture
just a
or?
factoid that I know. That's all I
Okay.
know. I can't
Okay.
even give you the source.
Okay. Interesting. I like that. Yes.
All right. If there's one thing you want our listeners to remember about human branding in the AI era, what would it be?
Be yourself. Right. And I know it's like the most, yes, of course, everyone's like, yeah, of course. But I think it's like removing the fear of wanting to appear too perfect and too polished, and, that you can't show any aspect of who you are that isn't this like perfectly built, contrived being. Um, I think in the era of AI, it is more important to kind of face that fear and be a little bit more real and authentic, and that is going to pay dividends and reward you so much more than thinking about this perfectly polished veneer that you're constantly trying to put out there.
Fabulous. I think that's
Yeah.
great advice. Be yourself. Now, I recall you telling me that you have an event coming up in mid-January.
Yes. Yes, for anyone who is job seeking, whether you are pivoting, whether you just got laid off, whether you're just looking for something new, it's called the LinkedIn Profile Power Up. And I partner with a career coach, and we help people put the finishing touches and redo their LinkedIn profiles, and then learn how to use LinkedIn, the platform, for building connections, for job search, etc. It's funny. I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh, we don't really have an AI component in that, but I think maybe the secondary part of that could weave that in, because I do think that we talk about commenting and engagement and things like that. And I think that's one of the places it's most abused, for sure, is like those AI generated comments that you see and everybody just knows they're AI. So how do you stand out with an authentic comment? How do you learn how to write that so that you get visible? These are the things that are going to be really important moving forward for anyone.
Fabulous. Danielle, as always, I just love our
Me
conversations.
too. Thank you so much, Madelyn. This was so
And
great. And I'm
it
so
was.
excited to see what your GPT says.
Yes, me too. And I hope you have a couple minutes to listen to the grounds for thought that are coming up.
Yes, I will.
Thank you so much.
Every now and then, there is something that changes how I think about the world. Grounds for Thought is a place where I talk about these moments so that you can explore the meaning for yourself.
To thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day thou canst not then be false to any man. That's from Shakespeare. Now, my father told me and my siblings this at least once a day, but he only said the first part, to thine own self be true. And I'm sure that at some time he read the rest of the quote, thou canst not then be false to any man. Yet he always seemed surprised that we all turned out to be not just truthful, but also forthright. It's funny. I remember one of my performance evaluations, my boss told me I was too forthright. Knowing what I know today, however. So, coming back to Shakespeare, he was right. If you practice honesty with yourself, that honesty inevitably seeps into all your interactions. Now, a further benefit accrued to us. We came to know ourselves, not through lectures, but through the daily practice of seeing and accepting who we were. So when the unexpected hit, we were remarkably resilient. You may recall that my own research confirmed that knowing who you are is a defining characteristic of highly resilient people. My siblings and I arrived at that understanding by observing ourselves, our feelings, our actions, and their consequences, and by listening to what others said about us. Today, there's another observer in the room. I use my own writing to teach my AI assistant what I want to do and why. It feels almost natural that it can study my writing and reproduce my tone when I ask it to edit something for a different audience. It's as if it's inside my head as it drafts the next version. And the good news is, when I review it, it usually sounds like me. Few adjustments, of course. Then one day I asked it to read through several transcripts from Unlocked, this show, and from that to describe the show. Now, what a happy surprise. What it wrote was consistent with what guests and viewers have said and with my own quiet intentions about the show. But as I read more carefully, I noticed something else. The description it wrote of Unlocked was consistent with what I saw in my writing, my voice, my energy, my perspective. It reflected back not a TV show, but the conversational tone of the shows. And in that moment, I realized that this technology I'd been training had given me a mirror to see myself more clearly, often not in words that I would have chosen, but similar. That's the paradox of our times, isn't it? We've built tools that can imitate almost anything, yet their real value may lie in showing us what we may not see from our perspective. So here's my thought for today. Resilience doesn't come from keeping pace with the machines. It comes from knowing what can't be replicated. Your voice, your humor, your perspective, your humanity. AI can mirror us, but it can't be us. Only we can do that. It's our responsibility to be. And when we stay true to ourselves, as my father would remind me, we can't be false to anyone else. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation and learned something new. And if you're on YouTube, please click the like button and subscribe. I'm Madelyn Blair, wishing you infinite possibilities as you unlock your resilient leader.